If you've ever thought, I just can't keep up, no matter how hard you try, and it feels like other people are doing it without this constant effort, this is not about you not trying hard enough. There's a reason this keeps happening with ADHD. And once you see it, things start to make a lot more sense. In this video, I'll show you what's actually behind that I can't keep up feeling, why trying harder keeps backfiring, and what to do instead so you're not stuck in that cycle. You know those moments where everything starts piling up. You've got things to do, but you're already behind. Something gets missed, like a text you meant to respond to. Something takes longer than you expected, and then it starts to snowball. And the hardest part isn't just the logistics. It's the feeling, that quiet thought in the background. Why can't I keep up like everyone else? So let's talk about what's really going on there. That feeling of I can't keep up, it's not actually about your ability. It's about the pace your life is demanding compared to how your brain naturally works. Because when you say, I can't keep up, what it often really means is, I can't keep up consistently at the speed that I think I'm supposed to. And that's a really important difference, because ADHD isn't a lack of capability. It's a difference in consistency and in timing, and in how your brain manages energy and attention. So what happens is you have days where things work. You're on top of things. You follow through. You respond to that text. You get things done, and it feels like, okay, I've got this. And then the next day, something shifts. Your energy is different, your attention is different, and things suddenly take longer. Something gets missed, you fall a little behind, and that gap between what you know you can do and what you can do consistently, that's what creates the feeling of, I can't keep up. So what do? You try to close that gap. You push a little harder. You try to be more consistent, more on top of things. But what's actually happening in those moments is you're using a lot of mental energy to hold everything together. And your brain can't sustain that level of effort all day, every day. So eventually something drops. And when it does, it doesn't feel like, oh, I was just pushing too hard. It feels like I can't keep up. And that's the cycle most people don't realize they're stuck in. So if trying harder isn't what actually helps, what do you do instead? You stop trying to be more consistent, and you start changing what happens when you're not. Because this is really the shift. It's learning to support yourself in those moments instead of shaming yourself for them. I think of it as the support, don't shame approach. It's this big. It needed a name. And you're not trying to finally get it right every day, but you're putting things in place that keep things from falling apart when you don't. Because here's what usually happens when something slips. It's not that it just didn't get done. It's what comes right after. I'm behind again. Why can't I keep up? I need to try harder. And that spiral, that's what actually makes it harder to keep going. It's not inconsistency that gets in the way. It's what we make it mean. But when you use a support, don't shame approach, those moments don't turn into that same spiral. You're not starting from zero. You're not trying to catch up all at once. You're just picking back up where you left off. And that's why this works, because support is what builds more consistency. Not perfect consistency, but more of it, but not by forcing it. by removing the thing that keeps interrupting it. That cycle of pressure, frustration, and starting over. So instead of relying on your memory, you have one place where things live. So even if your brain is scattered, you're not starting from zero. Instead of expecting yourself to just push through, you make things easier to start, so you don't need as much energy to begin. Instead of running right at capacity, you build in a little bit of cushion, so when something slips, it doesn't turn into everything slipping. Because now you're not trying to force consistency. You're creating support. And that's what actually makes things feel more consistent more of the time. And I think this is the part that can feel really different. When you stop making this about keeping up, you stop measuring yourself against something that was never designed for you in the first place. And instead, you start noticing, oh, this works better for me. You're not constantly catching up. You're not starting over every few days. Things just feel a little more doable. And over time, that feeling of always being behind starts to quiet down. Not because you finally figured out how to push yourself hard enough, but because you stopped shaming yourself in the moments when things slipped, and you supported yourself instead. And if you're noticing that pattern where you keep feeling like you have to start over, like, okay, this week I'm gonna get it together, and then a few days later it all falls apart again, that's actually something I see all the time. And there's a really specific reason that keeps happening. So I made a video breaking that down. Why starting over feels like the solution, but actually keeps you stuck in the same cycle. You can click right here to watch that next.